fights, holds people back with comedy, you know?
So I wasn't trying, like, I'm like you, I'm not trying to be an actor or anything, but during the, every time I've been on TV, it's just either as myself or like a cartoonish, exaggerated version of myself. And so my ego got a little bit inflated because it was like Thumbs Up, my hitchhiking show, or me going looking for a dinosaur, or, you know, going on Bourdain's show or Dave Chang's show. It's always just me. I'm not acting, right? And then because I was doing all these like kind of cooking, Dave Chang, you know him, the chef?
I don't know him personally.
Yeah, I was doing this show Ugly Delicious with him on Netflix, and Marielle, the producer of it, is like, do you want to be a food judge on like Top Chef? And I was like, fuck yeah, like I want to go eat good stuff. And it was this Jonathan Gold episode where he's the, you know, he's like the best food critic in LA that had passed away. So this was like out of respect to him. And Jon Favreau was there, and he has his own cooking show with Roy Choi called The Chef Show on Netflix. And I had heard that he had just gotten the Star Wars gig to do The Mandalorian, and I have mixed feelings about how much that I'm a grown man and I still go to the comic book shop every Wednesday and all that stuff. But like, I love superhero stuff. Like I love Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. I love all that shit. I love all the Star Wars stuff. Even though most of it is all shitty now, I still love it. So I told him, I don't know when I'm ever going to meet this guy again. So as he, you know, we went to Tacos 1988, and as he got in the car and the valet pulls up, I go, hey, good. You know, I didn't want to be the fanboy guy, but I was like, hey, congratulations on getting that Star Wars gig. And he's like, oh, yeah, thanks, Dave. And then the guy's giving him his keys and he's about to drive off. And I go, yo, put some fucking street art in Star Wars. And he's like, what? And I was like, the Alliance, the Rebel Alliance, the, you know, like every time in history, the Great Wall, Russia, Vietnam, it doesn't matter. Anytime there's a war anywhere in the world, there's art, rebellious art, right? There's posters, there's graffiti of saying like, fuck the system, fuck the man, down with the, you know, whatever. I'm like, in Star Wars, you have like Nazi type characters, you have all this like fighting, and there's no like graffiti. And he goes, you're right, Dave.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, and he goes, you're right, Dave, and you should do it. And I had just had my kid and stuff, and he's like, I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to look for work right now. I'm just saying someone should do that. And he goes, you're right, and it should be you. And I was like, fuck, man. So I get this, you know, and it was fun for me. And I went hardcore nerd. I was like, okay, Jawas are like this tall, so the graffiti would be like this, and Luke Skywalker would not be known on this side. So I'm like learning the Arabesh language, the Star Wars language, and I'm layering the graffiti so it would be accurate. Like I'm like going total nerd, and he goes, all right. And he tries to pay me, and I go, dude, I haven't gotten a paycheck in like 10 years. Like I don't want to get paid. And the guy at Lucasfilm is like, you don't want to get paid? Like you're gonna get paid a lot of money for this. I go, I don't want to fill out taxes for this shit. Like I don't work. Like I'm jobless. And he goes, you're the first person that's ever denied a check from Disney. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I go, put me in, coach. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, put me in for, like, just so I could tell my friends and shit that I was in Star Wars. and so 8 hours of makeup, 8 hours of fucking makeup. Look at that shit. Like fucking prosthetics, you know. So I have 1 second of screen time. That's like the camera panning, you know. And I had to do and they, you know, they put like paint speckles. Like they made it look like I was the guy that actually did the graffiti, and you know.
Oh.
So this is the first time I'm on TV acting, like not as me. So I go home, I write a short story about the backstory of my character, and I go, oh, it's too boring for me to scream in English. I'm gonna learn Huttese, Jabba the Hutt's language. So I'm out there. I got 5 pages of dialogue. Like we're at a gambling rink. We're betting on Gamorrean guards fighting. So it's like a fight scene. And it's like, fuck him up, Chris, like all that. And I'm saying it, Nichu Jujuman Hachaka Tupu. And like, everyone's like, dude, you're a fucking extra that's in here for 1 second. And no one asked you to learn Jabba the Hutt's language. And, you know, but I didn't know how to not go hard, you know, with it. And then,
so did they tell you to not do it?
They didn't. They're like, I'm the extra hanging out there, and I go, hey, just like, I know, like, you know, this is just me being me. I'm like, I'm not trying to get more airtime or whatever, but I did write a backstory of how I ended up I am a gambling addict. This is how I ended up at a Gamorrean Guard gambling thing, and I give it to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, who are like the showrunners, and they're like, yeah, we'll get right on that, Dave. Yeah. So
That's hilarious.
So I'm like,